Hello and welcome back to the Limit of Adhesion's USF2000 League. My name's Mark and joining me in the commentary booth is Steve. Steve, how you doing?
I'm fantastic, Mark. It's great to be at Lime Rock. I would think that most of the drivers will know the way around this track fairly well, actually, so we should get some really close and fast racing, because obviously this is the... what's happening there, Mark?
I think someone's having a very poor start to the weekend, Steve.
Well, I hope that's not the shape of things to come. That'd be interesting.
I hope not.
Flying cars.
But Lime Rock Park, as you said, Steve, is one of the more commonly used tracks down in sort of the rookies races, so everyone knows the track very well. And tell you what, Lime Rock Park, like any good park, is perfect for a picnic. And you know what you need on a picnic, Steve? You need spoons.
No, we don't have spoons. We don't have spoons. No. No, we've been banned from using spoons now.
Right, why don't you take us through the championship standings, Steve?
Of course, yeah. Ture Molarin up there with 382 points. He must be fairly close to winning the championship on this one, actually. We've got Alex Murphy chasing hard with 233, and then Ben Charlcroft in third with a fantastic 195 points. Russell Bright up to fourth now, and then we've got Mike Murphy, Eric Pusey, Chris White and Nico Minardi. Kenneth Olive and Philip Miles rounds out the top 10. Gavin Kelly, Sebastian Allmichael, Michael Messenger, James Pepper, Stephen Maxwell, Pavel Kuzmarek, Chris Forrester, Steve Pepper, Stephen Greening, Roberto Costa, Don Parker, Graham Barsley, Gareth Winslade, Slade Bees, Keith Schooling, Jason Weaver, Juha Mananen, Rich Meesters, Lawrence Emmons Jenkins, and a couple of others I couldn't get to, but it's a fantastic field there, lots and lots of drivers. In the standings for the championship, for the teams, we have Wizards Diamond out front with 477, Anti-Wizards Society 315 chasing hard, Minardi Atlantic, Minardi Europe, Extric Racing, McLaren's, Wizards Amethyst, DSR, Minardi Sim Sports, Wizard Ruby, TBC, HKS Motorsports, Shelf Squirrel and MMPR with 1 point.
Thanks for that, Steve. And yeah, looking at the championship standings, Ture and the Wizards Diamonds way out in front. The Anti-Wizard Society, I mean, despite what their name suggests, they are probably looking over their shoulders at the Minardi duo coming up very close behind them. So yeah, we'll see how well they can do in this race. See if they can take the fight to the Wizards, or whether they're going to be slipping further down the championship order.
That's it. Just 6 points between second and third. It's looking as though it's hotting up for that second place. And they have to be really careful, otherwise, obviously, Minardi Atlantic are going to be taking that away from them.
Indeed, they could well do so. But having said that, look at who's on top in quality, Steve. It's Alex Murphy for the Anti-Wizard Society, putting it on pole by 1.8 tenths of a second. Which, you know, around this tiny little track, that's a decent margin to have.
Yes, it's quite a nice little setup. Is this? There's no silly chicane where at the end of the halfway around the track. So that's obviously cut down the time slightly. Well, blistering time there, 47 seconds.
Yeah, and look at that, Ture Molarin down in 12th. That is uncharacteristically low for him.
Yeah, and
being out-qualified by his teammate Gavin Kelly.
That's it. I think we've got 22 runners today.
We do.
Yeah,
so yeah, nice full grid.
Yeah, there's a couple of incidents there from round 5. Pending penalties, we have Alex Murphy, James Pepper on pit lane starts and Slade Bees. I think was that a race ban?
I think it might have been.
Yeah. So looking at the grid there, Alex Murphy there on the inside for turn 1, followed by Stephen Maxwell. Russell Bright there in third with Mike Murphy, Eric Pusey and Don Park in the third row, Chris Forrester and Pavel Kuzmarek, followed by Ben Charlcroft and Gavin Kelly. That rounds out the top 10, and obviously it's a rolling start for this, so that should be interesting as well. So Kenneth Olive, Ture Molarin, Gareth Winslade, Chris White, Philip Miles, Steve Pepper, Roberto Costa, Slade Bees. Just pausing there for one of the drivers talking. We've got Marin Hugavin, Rafael Casakurta. I apologise if that's the wrong pronunciation. Rich Meisters and James Pepper in 22nd.
Yeah, see a nice big hello to Rafael Casacerta there, making his debut.
Yeah, nice to see more
the
and more
USF
drivers
League.
joining us. It's brilliant.
Indeed. So there we have Alex Murphy and Slade Bees in the pits, of course. So Alex Murphy, despite getting pole position, will not start from pole position because he's got that pit lane start. So it will be Steve Maxwell who leads us from pole position, because we're doing the full safety car lap here. None of this sort of last corner to go. They've got to sit behind the pace car for the full lap.
You need to get those tyres really nice and warm, get the brakes up.
Indeed. So most importantly, we'll have about 1.5 to 2 minutes of cars going very slowly, and we're going to have to try and vamp and think of stuff to mention.
We're actually coming up to one of the most difficult parts of the track here. As you go around this right-hander up to the top of this, there's a slight lump there, and it can get the car feeling so light, and it's very, very easy to go right, left, spin it round.
Indeed it is. So just a couple more corners to go. And we'll see the pace car dip into the pits just after this corner.
It's a funny little pit lane as well, is that?
It is, it's quite small. Very easy to hit that wall on the inside. But yeah, so we see the pace cars into the pits. And we are racing at Lime Rock Park. Stephen Maxwell making a great start to keep his first place. His inherited pole position. And are they going to make it safely through turn 1? That was Alex Murphy just popping out of the pits towards the back there. And looks like they have made it safely through turn 1. We are 2, 3, 4 abreast coming through the first couple of turns. And we've got a car, that's Pavel Kuzmarek. And we've got chaos already. There's a car going backwards. That looks like Dom Parker, perhaps. James Pepper had to take to the grass. That is unfortunate. So hopefully we'll see a replay of what happens as we see Marian Hugavin go around the outside. Oh, there's more carnage. There's about 4 cars off there. Alex Murphy trying to go around the outside of, was that Marian Hugavin? I think it was, and he made the move stick. As we see yet more contact. And I missed who that was. That's Dom, very unhappy with what's happened. Not quite sure what's happened in all of that. As we see a replay of what happened to Dom, he's going along side by side with Chris Forrester, and yet just gets nudged ever so slightly on the back, and then gets collected by one of the wizards. I think that might have been Ture Molarin. Actually, it might have been Gavin Kelly, because I noticed Gavin Kelly's dropped right back. But getting collected by one of the wizards anyway.
Well, that looked as though there was second and third contacts as well, so it was... who's that? That was Russell Bright going on.
Russell Bright. Here's Mike Murphy trying to go alongside Eric Piercy. He gets to the inside. Will he get to the first corner first? Yes, he does. And Mike Murphy moves up to second position. I know the standing board on the left are going a little bit crazy, but I think this is for second and third position. Because we've got Stephen Maxwell in first, unless something's happened to him. This is crazy. I'm not quite sure what's happened to the standings boards. But the standing board seems to suggest something that I'm not seeing on the screen. As we see Alex Murphy there going side by side with someone. The camera moved away too quickly. That's Winslade and Steve Pepper. Papa Pepper. And they try and go side by side through the final corner. They stay side by side. Pepper just slightly ahead as they... comes a drag race down to turn 1. Can Gareth Winslade just get alongside enough to be laid on the braking in the first corner? They're still side by side. Steve Pepper just stays ahead.
Oh, that was Russell Bright again.
That was Russell Bright again. Yes, Steve.
It looks
so this is Winslade versus Pepper. Well. It was. I'm not sure if that was a replay of the same incident. But we see now the standings board seems to have settled down in the correct order. It's made its mind up and has decided that, yep, Maxwell is in the lead by 1.9 seconds from Mike Murphy in that Eric Piercy battle. this battle that we're seeing on screen now for 6th, 7th and 8th, Pepper versus Winslade, and Molarin's decided to join the fight as well as they come down to downhill. Oh, Winslade's gone around. I think he was tagged by Molarin, and that was someone else. Was that Rafael Casacerta? That's an unfortunate way to end his debut race. Hopefully he'll be able to get back on track. Nothing he could do, unfortunately, to avoid the spinning Winslade.
That was a high-speed incident, that.
It was, as we see now, Murphy side by side with Hugavin. Hugavin running the Wizards livery despite being registered as a privateer. He obviously doesn't care about the points for the Wizards, but wants the livery.
Once a wizard, always a wizard, eh?
Indeed. As we go on board with someone who definitely doesn't want more points for the Wizards, Alex Murphy for the Anti-Wizard Society. Tucked up behind Marian Hugavin and just 2 places behind his title rival, Ture Molarin, who he will be desperate to finish ahead and try and reduce that points deficit. As Murphy looks to overtake Hugavin, Murphy tries to go to the inside, and there we see Molarin getting ahead of Pepper. Pepper down to 7th then. Pepper not fighting that one too much.
No, I think he knows his battles.
Indeed, Hugavin on the other hand deciding that he definitely does want to fight that against Murphy. So Hugavin remains ahead, and now he's looking to the inside on Pepper. Will they go side by side through uphill?
Yeah,
yes, that is the name of that corner, uphill. It was if he made it stick, and it looks like he did. Yeah, nice move there. Although Hugavin going very wide there, and he spun it. He's dropped it.
It looks like he went wide there and hit the bump on the exit on the left-hand side.
It did indeed. So easy to take, just that little bit too much. Oh, that was a nasty bump there. A lot worse than it looked from the first replay.
It'll be interesting to see if Alex Murphy can get past Pepper as cleanly as both the other drivers did now.
Indeed. I'm out of breath now, Steve. I think that's enough drama for one time. But Alex Murphy thinks, no, that's not enough drama. And
incident.
That's Rich Meesters off.
Pepper's been connected.
Yeah,
dropping
Pepper's
down the order.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
That is a shame. Oh, there he is. Oh.
No, that's James.
That's James hitting the same bump that Hugavin did. But what happened to Steve Pepper?
Hopefully we'll get a replay.
That's such a shame because he was doing an absolutely phenomenal job. He started, I think it was 19th, 18th, 19th, and then made his way up to, there's a replay of Winslade going up the inside of Meesters and just braking a little bit too late and locking up the brakes. And I don't think Meesters will be too happy with that. He was an innocent bystander in all of that. As we see now, that was Forrester on the team radio. And there's Mike Murphy's radio. There's a replay of what happened.
Yep.
Oh, Murphy, up the inside and just tagged the back of Steve Pepper. And Pepper went pirouetting.
On the top of that hill there, if you can't see over the top of the hill, you've just got to tow.
Yeah, definitely. And there's Rafael Casacerta doing some donuts. So here's Chris Forrester. He's a lap down, getting out of the way of Eric Bussi, who's in a very good 3rd position. Bussi just saying thank you to Forrester there.
Thank you.
Forrester making these moves rather nice because he knows that he's not in the same fight. Here's Maxwell, and I thought that was a pass for position, but it's not. That's Kenneth Olive, a lap down. So here are the McLaren duo. Forrester and White. White's up there in 5th. That's a brilliant showing for him. As you see now, on board with Pepper. That was a nice run. Oh, he got a little squirrely. Will he save that? He did save that. He had to take to the runoff, but well done, that man, for not stuffing that in the barrier.
That was Code Brown.
Most definitely Code Brown. I don't know how he survived that. But
I think he was eating his seat then.
Yeah, and I think James Pepper Well, if we see him pull over to the side of the road, that's probably because he's had to run off and get a change of underwear after that.
Oh dear. And after that, I think he's just hit the pits again.
Maybe that's him coming into the pits to get a change of underwear after that.
Yeah.
Spicy moment. Let's see now, Steve Pepper. That was not a pass for position. Because Pepper is about 11 seconds behind his nearest challenger on track, Winslade. And about 5 seconds ahead of Don Parker. So here we are with Alex Murphy tucked up right behind his title rival, Ture Molarin. When did that happen? They weren't that close on track before. And here's Ben Chalkoft right on the back of Eric Piercy for third. So Ben Chalkoft in the Minardi Atlantic team. So the Minardi team in with a shout of getting that second place from the Anti-Wizard Society. As we see a replay in the top left corner of the McLaren duo battling. They are a lap apart, of course. And here's Murphy looking to the inside on Molarin, but not close enough to get a move done there. Unless he was so late on the brakes. But no, that was Molarin getting a little bit squirrely out of there as we see Kenneth Olive going grass track racing. Murphy now, there's that little jump that we were talking about, Steve. That little hill, it's so easy to lose the car on. As they come through the west bend and through downhill, Molarin goes wide. Will he keep it off that bump? He just about manages to keep it safe, but that's going to open the door right up for Murphy. Molarin heads to the inside to try and defend, but Murphy's got so much more speed. Who will be latest on the brakes down to turn 1? Molarin looks like he might just keep this ahead for the time being, but he certainly looks under pressure from Murphy. Murphy is so quick at this track. And Murphy goes to the inside. Will he get the move done? Molarin would have been able to carry more speed through, and now we see the fight go elsewhere as we see that Piercy and Chalkoff fight. Who is ahead? That's Chris White. And just behind, looking at this timing board, it looks like Molarin did stay ahead of Murphy for the moment as we see this. But there's battles everywhere, Steve. There's the Murphy-Molarin battle. Murphy goes to the inside. He's not going to try and overtake there, is he? Molarin stays ahead for the moment. That was an audacious attempt, and it didn't quite pay off.
It could have cost both drivers the race then, actually.
Yeah, indeed. As they get past the lapped car of Lawrence Aaron Jenkins, I believe that was. And it feels like a case of when, not if, Murphy will make this move, but will he be able to do it cleanly? It's a tough track to overtake on.
Yeah,
So
there's only really a couple of
see.
places to overtake, isn't there, when you look at the track itself.
There is indeed. And yeah, especially on this layout without the chicane, I think there's quite a good training technique in the Mazdas and the Formula Vs where you can try and drive the entire track without touching the brake at all. As we see Rafael Casacerta having a little spin. Here is Chalkoff to the inside of Piercy. And Piercy now has the inside, and it looks like he will stay ahead. But yeah, as I mentioned, that training technique of doing the entire lap without braking just goes to show how little you do need to brake in this track. It's a very sort of fast-flowing, momentum-based track.
Yeah, it is. It's the momentum for the cars is very, very important. No matter what you're driving, especially around a little track like this, because it's so quick. The corners are coming up so fast and furious that you've got to set the car up each time you come around these corners to try and get the best run you can to obviously pass the car in front.
Indeed, we saw replays there of Pavel Kuzmarek and then Chris Forrester having spins, and that was a lock-up and a running wide for Ben Chalkoff. He's kept it on the black stuff though, which is important, but he's dropped a few tenths back to Piercy. A man who hasn't dropped a few tenths though is this man on board, Alex Murphy, still right tucked up behind Ture Molarin, but unable to find a way past, as we see there Lawrence Aaron Jenkins on the back of Winslade. Winslade on the back of Kelly, but that is not the position. These two good friends, but are a lap apart, despite being together on track. As we rejoin this fight, Murphy versus Molarin. Murphy then just can't get a good enough run out of that last corner. Molarin turning left, turning right to try and break the slipstream. Does just about enough, but Molarin, yeah, it looks as if he's just not quite got the raw speed of Murphy. Murphy again going to the inside. He does like that inside line. I'm not sure if it's quick enough though. Molarin seems to be able to take more speed through that corner, but Murphy doesn't seem to be dropping back. He's close enough. Can he keep close? He does close right up through the uphill section. He does dive to the inside. Can he get it past? Not quite, although he does force Molarin wide. Will that open the door up? They go side by side through the final corner. Molarin runs wide, but just about keeps the place as we see Winslade going spinning in the top right corner. It's an epic fight between our two title protagonists.
Yeah, I think there is. Go on, my apologies, Mark.
I was going to say that there was Stephen Maxwell in a league of his own today as we see the two title protagonists touch. Murphy going for a little spin. Looks like Molarin came off better. Will Murphy drop many positions? There's one position lost already. And there's Pavel Kuzmarek. Looks like he might drop a second.
Yeah, wheel to wheel was that?
It was indeed. So that'll be one. Yeah, that'll be one for the stewards. But yeah, so Alex Murphy has now dropped to 9th position. So he's just 3/10 off Pavel Kuzmarek for that reverse grid pole. 8 laps to go. So with the speed of Murphy, this race, you'd like to think that he should be up the sharp end of the grid for the next race.
I think he's still got to get one position though, Mark, hasn't he, for the reverse grid?
He does, but 8 laps to go and he's already on the back of Kuzmarek.
Yeah.
So I think if I were a betting man, my money would be on Murphy for that one.
Pavel needs to make that car extremely wide.
Indeed. And I mean, Pavel's a quick guy, but Alex Murphy this weekend is just unstoppable. Just some amazing pace there. Of course, he will be ruining the incident last time out that gave him the penalty, which meant that he couldn't start from pole position, because you get the feeling that if he was able to start from pole position as he dives to the inside of Pavel Kuzmarek, he would have just run away with that. And there's the position for Alex Murphy, and at the reverse grid pole position. As we see, he's now just 4 seconds behind Philip Miles. Oh, and Philip Miles has... There we go, there's the commentator's curse for you. Philip Miles taken to the grass. And that will then give Pavel Kuzmarek back the reverse grid pole. As we see, there is Ben Chalkoff after that little bit of contact earlier, that little half spin. As we see there's Steve Pepper off on the gravel. Ben Chalkoff now just 4/10 behind Piercy once more. So this fight for the podium position is certainly not over. There's the Mountain Dew liveried Ben Chalcroft on board, and here's Don Parker. 10 seconds behind Lawrence Owen Jenkins. That was not a pass for position. That was not a battle for position even. This one, however, is Chalcroft versus Piercy once more. Chalcroft has got the speed, got the gap down to just 0.2 of a second, and down that straight. But yeah, it's so hard to pass around this track. As we see now, Alex Murphy, now that he's back up into 7th, means that he is in the position that he was in before he tangled with Molarin. Obviously with now a 10-second gap with five laps to go, I doubt he's going to be able to make any more positions or resume that fight, as we see Maxwell putting a lap on, I think that was Lawrence Owen Jenkins perhaps. This battle, however, is most definitely not over. Ben Chalcroft versus Piercy, as we see a lock up there in the distance. I think that might have been Parker who locked up slightly. And Oh, that's more than a lock up there. That's Winslade into the barriers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Gareth.
Indeed. He's in the pits and not... Is he rejoining? I don't think he is. So
I don't think so. So that would be both Extric Racing cars out at the moment.
Indeed, it's a huge shame. So yeah, quite a high rate of attrition in this race. We're down to just 15 runners. Started with 22, of course. That's, yeah, 7 DNFs. Saying that,
A bit of an off.
I was just about to say, Pepper looks like he's dropping back. So make that an extra DNF.
Yep,
We're down to just 14 runners.
I think he fell foul of the jump here, to be honest.
Indeed, it is so hard to keep the car pointing in a straight line there. And we see what's happened to Ture Molarin. Ture's gone off. And he's not lost any positions in all of that, but it does mean that Murphy is just 1.5 seconds behind. 2 to go though, and in fact, saying that, there's the white flag, so I'm not sure if Murphy will have enough time to get back onto the back of Molarin.
I think he's going to need a bit of a mistake from Ture there for Alex to catch him.
Indeed, well, we already saw one mistake, and I think Murphy's definitely got the pace, but unfortunately he doesn't have the laps remaining. And there's the checkered flag, and Stephen Maxwell wins at Lime Rock after, let's be honest, a really quiet race for him. Started from pole, led from start to finish. That was a textbook win, Steve. As we see, that's Don Parker going sideways across the line.
That's a one way to take the checkered flag, sideways.
Indeed. I think he decided that, you know, crossing the finishing line, facing the right way is just a bit too boring.
Yeah, I think Dom gets finish of the day already.
I think he does.
So the end of the race sees Stephen Maxwell winning, Mike Murphy and Eric Pusey bringing up the third place, finishing podium. We've got Ben Shalcroft, Chris White, Alex Murphy, Pavel Kuzmarek and Gavin Kelly getting the reverse pole. Philip Miles, Ture Molarin, Rich Meesters, Lauren Seven Jenkins, Don Parker with his fantastic finish. Rafael Casacerta in 14th for his first race. Decent result there. Gareth Winslade and Steve Pepper, Chris Forrester, Mary Hoogervin, Kenneth Olive, James Pepper, Roberto Costa, Slade Bees and Russell Bright.
Right, thanks for that, Steve. So, yeah, it'll be top 8 reversed. So, yeah, why don't you take us through the grid for race 2?
Yeah, of course. Gavin Kelly on that reverse pole, Pavel Kuzmarek, Alex Murphy, Chris White, Ben Shalcroft, Eric Pusey, Mike Murphy, Stephen Maxwell and Philip Miles. And then Ture Molarin in 10th. So we'll be once again a rolling start. So obviously the cars or the names of the drivers on the right hand side will be on the inside of the track for turn 1, and on the left hand side the outside. So we'll see how it all pans out now. It'll be a fantastic race again. We'll see how many drivers can keep it square at the top of the hill on the first lap with cold tyres.
Indeed, and what I think is interesting, Steve, I don't know what happened at the end of that race, but Ture Molarin starting in 10th. So we had mentioned that Pavel Kuzmarek would have been on pole position, or a reverse grid pole, but that actually went to Gavin Kelly. And Ture Molarin's dropped down to 10th, so I'm not quite sure what happened to him, whether he had an incident on the last lap, or whether it was
it a black flag?
Too many incident points, exactly, with a black flag and a drive-through that he had to serve. But for whatever reason, Ture Molarin finished that race in 10th.
Yeah.
Which meant that Gavin Kelly starts from the reverse grid pole position.
It'd be interesting to see how Russell gets on this in this race, because he has got the pace to come through the pack. He qualified very well for the first race, so it'll be interesting to see how he copes with the traffic and he gets through.
Indeed, as we see yet another long pace car. So, yet more random waffling as we try and fill the time.
Long pace car. Is that what you said? Long pace car.
Long pace car lap.
Hey.
Not long pace car. The pace car is just normal sized. No, it's just normal sized.
So getting to the top end of the track, we're ready for going green almost.
Indeed, the pace car will, after this next corner, dive into the pits. Will take about 15 minutes to run through the pit lane because, as I said before, it is rather long pace car.
Let's hope the pace car doesn't take James's line through the pit entrance.
Hopefully not, no. But there we go, joking aside, we are ready to start this race. The pace car comes into the pits. Someone was blinking a little bit there, but Gavin Kelly from pole position, he floors it. We go green and we are racing once again at Lime Rock Park. All seemed to get away well through the first corner. Looks like there weren't any incidents so far. He says with bated breath. And yeah, looks like they all made it through relatively unscathed. At least the first couple of corners. That's Rich Meesters going alongside, I believe that's Rafael Casacerta.
Very interesting livery, that.
Who, Casacertas or Meesters?
Well, I think Rich has got... Oh, we've got one off.
Oh, that's Lawrence Aaron Jenkins. I'm not sure if he lost it at the top of the hill, as we see Meesters and Parker going side by side. I'm not sure whether that was aided by contact, but there's Costa, who didn't make it up the hill. He found the barrier before that corner. As we see going 3 wide into the first corner, Molarin makes it out ahead of the other two. I didn't quite catch who they were. That's McLaren going wide. I think that was Forrester. We've got a... Oh, was that a touch that aided Aaron Jenkins going around?
Yeah, that was
unfortunate. Oh, there's more drama. That is Russell Bright again with dramas in the opening laps. That was contact with Forrester, I believe.
Yeah, unfortunate again.
Indeed. So what happened with Ture Molarin? Ture just dropped it on his own.
Yeah, just went wide, just took a wheel on the grass, and that just sends you off, sucks you off straight away there.
Yeah, and that was Maxwell going very wide through the last corner. He's dropped a few tenths and looks to have been overtaken by Murphy. If Murphy can get the move done. And it looks like he has, and that's opened the door up for Chris White as well, but Chris White running out of room. Unfortunately, trying to go the long way around a left-hander is not always going to work. It's not the easiest way to make a pass. But yes, that was a very, very costly error there from Maxwell. Drop in position, and in the top 4 starting to break away ever so slightly now. As we see, there was a replay of an incident in the top right. Alex Murphy up to second.
Yeah, with the fastest lap as well. Yeah, he's really shifting.
I was going to say, yeah, good few tenths quicker than Kelly that lap. So Murphy will be eyeing the lead of this race. And there is an incident for Russell Bright. That's just unfortunate.
He went over the... it looks like a bit of a manhole cover, almost like a cement area where the grass finishes. And if you get that wrong and go straight over that, it really does unsettle the car and it just spins you around.
Winslade versus Meesters. Meesters, there was a little bit of weaving. I think Winslade was far enough back that would have been okay, but he needs to watch to make sure he doesn't swipe across the nose of Winslade.
I'm not sure whether it's weaving, or he's got a can of Guinness in that car.
He does have a Guinness livery, and there we see Murphy right on the back of Kelly. Another fastest lap.
Oh, that's James Pepper, unfortunately, being caught out the second time in that same place.
Yeah, and that is no front wing and no front right wheel, so that car is not going much further until he tows to the pit lane. Alex Murphy now still all over the back of Kelly, applying the pressure. They've broken away a little bit from Kuzmarek, who's sitting pretty in third. As we see a replay there of Forrester just getting that curb slightly wrong, and yeah, that just sort of launches you round, unfortunately. So here is Maxwell versus Murphy, round 2. This time Maxwell on the move. He goes to the inside. He gets the move done. Murphy there with no answer to Maxwell's pace. And here is Murphy still all over the back of Kelly. Bit eyeing up the move. Looks to the inside, but he's way too far back to make a move there. Through this tricky uphill section where the car goes light right at the top of the hill. And you find the grass approaching a lot quicker than you anticipated. Here's Chalcroft. Again, Chalcroft in that 4th position, chasing down 3rd. Here's White on the back of Murphy, with Piercy just behind. So Maxwell got past Murphy last lap, as we see Lawrence Aaron Jenkins going spinning and doing some donuts on the grass. Murphy again, just peeking to the inside, just trying to get Kelly's mirrors full of his car, but that's never going to be an overtaking place. That corner is way too quick. This next one, however, might be an overtaking spot. Murphy tucked into the slipstream. Kelly sticks his car like glue to the right-hand side. Murphy, he'll try around the outside, but I don't think that's going to work, as we see a spin for Philip Miles. And very quickly doing the very sensible thing and backing it off of the racing line onto the grass to make sure that no cars collect him.
And when you look down the field, Mark, the top 8, they're literally spread by about 4.5, 5 seconds.
Yeah, a slight gap back to 9th, which is Parker. But then, yeah, the top 9 quite a way ahead of Winslade in 10th.
You know, just the slightest mistake and down the order they go. And it's just starting to spread out slightly now. But even so, there's...
Oh, there's Pepper on the grass. And, yep, I think if he's trying that line, he might need to go and check out the Rallycross series.
Definitely. Yeah, he's not in a good race, this race.
Unfortunately not, no. So, yeah, this top 8 all relatively nose to tail, as we saw Piercy there just jinking to the inside, but again, I don't think he's going to have enough speed and enough of an overlap to make a pass into that corner, and indeed he didn't. That was White heavily bashing the curbs though, and Piercy does look to the inside. White misses the apex a little bit. Piercy has the inside line but not the overlap. White just not defending.
There. Yeah, he just had to hold the throttle as he came down the hill there.
Indeed. Murphy then did have the inside line, but Kelly just had enough overlap so that when the inside line became the outside line for the next corner, Kelly could hold on to the position. But this fight remains. This battle really heating up now. As we see, there's an incident for Kenneth Olive somewhere. That's an incident for Rich Meesters. Again, just touching the grass and it just sucks you out. This is Alex Murphy with a very good run. Kelly did go to the inside, forcing Murphy to go around the outside like he did a lap ago. And there's contact. So that's the top 2 of the race. Both collide and both in the grass, very nearly in the barriers. I hope we'll see a replay. There we do see a replay, and yeah, unfortunately it looked like Gavin Kelly just drifted wide a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit of understeer there, straight up just into Alex Murphy, I think.
Yeah. So that is very unfortunate.
Which then changes the race order again, because we have now got Pavel Kuzmarek in first place.
We do indeed, and there's the incident that we saw of Kenneth Olive, but
yeah,
that was Chris Forrester involved as well. So that promotes Pavel Kuzmarek up to first, Chalcroft up to second, Maxwell on course for a double podium on third. There's Parker just dipping 2 wheels into the grass as he tries to get past Piussi, who in turn is trying to get past White. There's Rich Meesters
trying to open another can of Guinness. Leave it alone, Rich. Don't drink and drive, boys and girls. Rich says.
I think Rich might have a packet of Krispy Kremes with that can of Guinness because he was doing some donuts there as well. Obviously trying to get back onto the tarmac, but lighting it up a little bit too much. As we see, here's Maxwell, just, what, half a second off the lead. It's a brilliant race for well, a brilliant round for Maxwell. He obviously dominated the first round, and there was a little mistake for Chalcroft, and Maxwell does need a second invitation and goes playing around the outside of him, as we see Lawrence Aaron Jenkins with a little issue up there in the top right. Parker still behind Piussi. So next to try and get past Chalcroft is Murphy in the Minardi Europe car. Oh, and that's a lock-up for Chalcroft. He goes wide, and that opens the door for Murphy, makes it nice and easy for him.
Yeah, Mike's having a good drive this race.
He is indeed. You see Parker still piling on the pressure on Piussi, who's still piling on the pressure on White.
Yeah, they're so close. There's some great battles forming in this top 7 or 8. Obviously, Alex
Parker,
Murphy wanting to close down now. He's 4 seconds behind this group.
See Parker piling pressure on Piussi. Try saying that 5 times when you're drunk.
That's Rich.
Indeed we can, as we see there Pavel Kuzmarek putting a lap on, I think that might have been Lawrence Aaron Jenkins perhaps? Or it might have been Rich, no, it was Rich Meesters. And oh, that was Chalcroft trying to get past Meesters, but there was contact, and that's opened the door for Piussi and Parker and White. So both Piussi and Parker have got past White in all of that. So I'm not quite sure what happened to White there.
Well, a bit of a wiggle there for Chris as well as he came over the top of the hill.
Indeed, so easy to do. Parker still piling on the pressure on Piussi. As we see, there's Molarin getting past Pepper. Molarin going so wide, nearly in the wall. And there is Parker going to the inside on Piussi. Late on the brakes, and he's got the move done. He made that look so easy. And there's Maxwell all over the back of Kuzmarek for the race lead and potentially doing the double. And he does look to the inside, doesn't quite get the move done. He needs to play it. Yeah, he needs to be sensible. He's still got 11 laps to go and he's clearly got the pace. He doesn't want to try a risky move that might end up putting them both out. But he's so close to the final corner. Gets a good run, takes a nice lot of speed. And he pulls alongside. Will he be late on the brakes? Yes, he will. He's through up the inside. And we have a new race leader, Stephen Maxwell, as Alex Murphy sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, a fantastic move there. Fantastic move.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, looking at the speed that Murphy had this race, if you then said that actually Maxwell's on course to do the double, I don't mean to take anything away from Stephen Maxwell, but you've got to wonder what went wrong for Murphy, because he had so much pace. And yeah, he's just not been able to capitalise on it. It's been Maxwell who's been capitalising on it.
Very
and Maxwell
much.
Just doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, well, when you think that just incidents happen, and as much pace as you've got, if you just don't get the rub of the green and the luck of the draw going through the doing the laps, and you get caught up in incidents left, right, and centre, then it's gonna damage your overall race results. And I think that's what's just happened with Alex. I mean, he's picking up places now at the moment, but even so, he's had those little incidents around the laps and what have you, and it's just damaged his race.
Yeah, and I think, let's be honest, of those 2 incidents that he had, one with title rival Molarin and one for the race lead with Kelly, you've got to admit, he was an innocent bystander in both of those.
Yeah, it
There
may
wasn't
be.
an awful lot he could have done differently.
No, but
So,
like I
yeah,
say, it just if you get caught up in those incidents and it damages
Exactly.
your race, and it's very difficult. Here we go. That's Mike Murphy.
There's a
off.
lock up for Murphy. Yeah. And he's now going to be dropping back through the pack. So that puts Piussi up to 3rd, Parker up to 4th. And in fact, something's happened between Piussi and Parker, because I'm sure we saw Parker make the move on Piussi a couple of laps ago. But now Piussi's got back ahead.
Yeah, Alex Murphy up to 5th now as well, so he wanted to close that gap.
And tell you what, we were talking about Maxwell doing the double. I mean, it's certainly not over yet. Kusenrek's only 8/10 back, and Murphy, if he keeps on charging his way through the field, he might still be able to salvage a race win. He's got to get his foot down, though, if he wants to do it. As we see, here's Parker making the move again on Piussi. Goes to the inside, late on the brakes in turn 1, a little bit of a lock-up. It looks like he got the move done, and he got it slowed down. And indeed, there is confirmation that he did indeed get it slowed down and keep it on the black stuff.
But it depends on the tyres as well. If they're overheating the tyres, might be going around these corners and things, that can make a big difference. I mean, they're all lapping with the same sort of 48s.
Indeed, as we see Rich Meesters off track again after one too many Guinnesses.
Dunkin' Donuts, I think that one was called.
Indeed. I think someone needs to let Rich know that Guinness do actually do a non-alcoholic.
That's boring. Non-alcoholic Guinness. What the heck? That'd be burn in hell. Blasphemy.
But it's good for when you're driving, Steve, and it avoids incidents like that.
It's very true. Very true.
So now Murphy just 1 second behind that Parker-Piussi battle. And what's happened there? That is the fight between Kenneth Olive and Russell Bright. Olive, with a rather poor exit from the final turn, means that Bright has just absolutely breezed past.
Yeah, it was a nice overtake though.
Yeah, and so that puts Russell Bright up to 12th. So here's Chris White for 7th, just 4/10 behind Ben Chalcroft. Chalcroft will, I think, be kicking himself for that little mistake earlier, because he was up in, was it 2nd or 3rd?
Yeah, he was.
A few laps ago, before that little lock-up just started a chain reaction where he started losing a few positions, but he's certainly a quick guy, is Ben. As we see now,
wiggle again there.
Yeah, getting very squirrely over the hill. To see White there in pursuit. And oh, blimey, look at that, weaving left, right, Parker, Piussi and Murphy. Murphy's got that gap right down, a little lock up there first for Parker and then for Piussi. And oh, Piussi just puts a wheel on the grass, and that's tipped him into a spin. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, very much, but that's all it takes, unfortunately. Just a little dip of the wheel on the grass and it just takes you around. As we'll see probably on the replay there. Yeah, just under that brown grass there, he unstabilises his car and then the back when he goes round.
Indeed. As we see, Chris White still hasn't given up that 5th position. That fight for 5th position. As we see there, a replay of Kenneth Olive locking his brakes and just seeing what that outside line is like. Spoiler alert, it's slower.
It'll be interesting to see now how Alex Murphy deals with Don Parker in the next couple of laps, 2 or 3 laps. because Dom's no slouch.
Indeed,
and he's gonna find it difficult getting past him as he goes wide slightly
there's
there.
Murphy going very wide, yeah. I think you are certainly right. You hit the nail on the head there, Steve. Parker is a very quick guy. He is known affectionately in the Wizards of Lifton Coast forum as Mr. 3K on a Logiplev. So he managed to get up to 3000 iRating using all Logitech equipment. So yeah, definitely a very quick guy. Bathurst 12-hour winner as well. As we see Mike Murphy pull over at the side of the road. Didn't see what happened. As we then saw a little lock-up for Chris Forrester. They're braking for the first corner. Sorry, I think that was Chris White, not Chris Forrester. Wrong Chris. Right team, wrong Chris. So here we are. Alex Murphy still in pursuit of Don Parker for that third place position. This is Stephen Maxwell. Once again, doing everything right, got into the lead, and there's the checkered flag. And Stephen Maxwell does the double and wins yet again at Lime Rock Park. So yeah, brilliant race from him.
Fantastic
well done.
result.
And Parker just about managed to defend from Murphy, just 400th of a second behind. So Steve, why don't you take us through the final results?
Yeah, so fantastic result there for Stephen Maxwell. Congratulations on the double win. Second, Pavel Kuzmarek, and Don Parker beating Alex Murphy for the third spot on the podium. Well done. Alex Murphy also fourth, Ben Chalcroft fifth, Chris White sixth, Gareth Winsley getting up to seventh, Eric Pusey with that slight mishap there drops him to eighth, Ture Molarin surprisingly only ninth, and Steve Pepper rounding out the top 10. Great result there. Rafael Casacerta on his debut for racing in the LOA. Fantastic result there for 11th. Russell Bright getting up to 12th. Kenneth Olive 13th. Philip Miles 14th. Rich Meesters, after pausing several times for the opening cans of beer and things like that, and Doritos and stuff, he's getting his 15th. Fish Forrester 16th. Mike Murphy 17th. Gavin Kelly 18th. So yeah, some good results there. And the championship standings, we see Ture Molarin now on 395, having been closed down slightly by Alex Murphy with 286. Ben Chalcroft in third, so all that, the top three stay the same. We've got movement for Mike Murphy up one place, and going down Stephen Maxwell with a massive 8 places up. Now it's 166 in 7th. Same again, Don Parker 6 places on 75 points to 15th, and then we've got other 16th Mike Messenger, James Pepper in 17th there. So there's a lot of movement in the championships. Championship for the standings for the teams. We've got Wizard Diamond on 500 points, Anti-Wizard Society on 368 points, Minardi Atlantic 367, and Minardi Europe all staying the same with on 399. McLaren move up one place, and Extric Racing move down one place, with Wizards Amethyst, DSR, Minardi Sim Sports, Wizard Ruby, TBC, HKS Motorsports, Shelf Squirrel, and then MMPR 9 on 5 points.
Great, thanks for that, Steve. So yeah, the championship standings, not much movement there in the team standings. Obviously a lot of movement in the drivers standings, but one thing that is constant throughout both Ture Molarin and the Wizards, well out in front, and you've got to be thinking it's a case of if not when they wrap up both championships. Sorry, when not if they wrap up both championships.
I think so,
but
yeah.
As you can see from the graphic, next time up we are going left turning at
Round
Thompson
and
Raceway. Indeed.
It's not
So,
a bowl,
yeah,
it's not a spoon, it's a bowl.
Indeed. So there are the links to our Discord and all of our socials. So yeah, come along and say hi if you want to race with us. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. My name's Mark, and with me in the commentary booth has been Steve. So thank you very much, Steve, and thank you very much for joining.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Until next time, take care, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.